hate the honest chain, just like what's happening. You'd have to tell yourself something that I was the hero trying to save this. You'd have to create a different narrative to be able to kind of live with kind of that massive change in what you did. And over and over and over again, you see this. You see the FTX. You see, and we'll see just because 90% of that 97%, 97.5% of people will cheat. Why this will be chaotic is you have to expect it.
Something interesting. Do you think there will come again a point in Bitcoin's history, something like a block size war 2.0?
Not just possibility, guaranteed. Guaranteed. There'll be all sorts of chaos. There has to be, and there has to be because the systems are incompatible. And most people, by most 99.9%, are measuring. You've never seen the world that I describe, right? When I keep saying Bitcoin isn't going up, prices are falling against it. That is the free market, and Bitcoin is measuring the first global free market that's ever existed. So all of the others. Why you see Trump today and many people are giving that strength more strength, right? Elon Trump better than Biden and the globalists. And well, that might be true kind of on the surface of it. Because you want to rip out all of the deep state and everything else. That whole infrastructure apparatus came as a result of a control system printing money. How could it change from that system? It just has to consolidate power to somebody else. Because when Elon rips out a whole bunch of the money, the GDP that is all waste today, you'll tip the world into an economic spiral, a deflationary spiral. Because all of those people have jobs and all of those people pay for other businesses, all their private businesses that also carry jobs. And as you do that, you'll see the natural state that was there all along, and you'll tip to a deflationary spiral. And the US will have to print so much money. Why? And what you're seeing right now is you're seeing why they want Bitcoin is because they want to print into Bitcoin. And Bitcoin will go up a lot in that. But that system is an inflationary system. And that system, why they also need their security borders and they need to potentially let go of Europe or Japan and they have to control other countries in Canada, us or Greenland or Panama. They have to have it has to be a control system. And that control system has to centralize more and more. It has to, instead of in the world we've lived in the last 20 years, where you've had a control system, but it's felt like it's felt like a nice control system because of where you live, right? Now you're just seeing it for what it is. We are going to impose our military might, or you're going to do this, or you're not going to trade with us. That trade, because all humans do, we trade with each other to achieve more value. That's what the global free market looks like. So if you're going to distort that and stop that from happening through your financial instrument, there's going to be consequences. And those consequences are going to continually accrete, and there is no solve from that system. That inflationary system must be a control system. So that inflationary system has to sometime attack Bitcoin. How I would do it? So I would do exactly what's happening right now. I'd convince a whole bunch of people that I'm on side. I love this technology. It's the best thing ever. You can trust Uncle Sam with it. You can trust us. We're going to do the right thing. You can trust Coinbase with your coins. You could do all of this. And then as more and more people did this and more of the economic nodes, the transmission of this was on top of this. I sure wouldn't make the attack anytime soon. But as that happened and more people were transacting on my system, and many of the hardcore Bitcoiners of today, if they then sold into that, okay, I'm out, I'm free, that I would launch the attack later. That would look like a chain split.
It's there's so many questions coming up, but the biggest one that I always have is what implications, and I'm not sure if we actually touched it on in the first episode, but what implications Bitcoin in general has on governments, because in my head it has to shrink them dramatically.
You just nailed it, and that's what has to happen. Because governments, our whole idea of a government today, we are the map and the territory. And I find this fascinating because I think why people have such a hard time. One of the reasons why they visualize the present forward rather than the future. And why they do that is they take one aspect, AI or something, and they keep every other variable the same. And what they can't see is their own changes from the change, and how everything changes from those. So if you said that change from this, the world we live in today is an exploitative control system, and it's a mirror reflection of the world we give our energy to, which has theft at the base layer. So of course it would look like that. Of course the people at the top, the greater and greater control structure, wouldn't have to provide value to you, because they would be sucking the value from you. Because all humans providing value is faster deflation, faster abundance. So you could say one system has to be like this. It has to get worse and worse. And we're measuring that system thinking that that's how governments should look. It didn't look like that in the early US. Government was way smaller, more free markets, more powerful markets. What created the US was the move from control structures of Europe to open and free markets, where there were more ideas shot, more puck shot on net, more ideas from entrepreneurs that people took advantage of because they could build their freedom and life in the US. That is what created the US empire that then got captured. And that's what creates all more freedom to humans, faster output because of more ideas, faster abundance. And then those systems always get controlled. So we're measuring today exactly what you said, like this is normal. It's completely not normal in a free market. Normal in a free market is a government gets way smaller. It has to. Because the free market imposes a discipline, and the government has to be in service of you rather than prey on you. And so that state change is so massive. And we're measuring, and so it's interesting, and if you pick up on what you're saying and what this is, because this is a whole bunch of people in Bitcoin, where you opened the conversation, are scared of going to Bitcoin because of the same big government that they're feeding with all of their energy. It's crazy. It's crazy. They're essentially screaming from a jail cell, right? You better not save yourself, because the big guy that we make stronger is going to stop you.
It's a super interesting way. How does then the strategic Bitcoin reserve and countries buying Bitcoin, is that basically an attempt to make their life longer?
So let's argue just from both sides. If you were a government, if you were a municipality, if you were a city, and you had an opportunity to not debase your citizens, and said you could put some money here and you could buy more services for your citizens forever, wouldn't you want to do it? If you were a hardcore Bitcoiner, you would probably want to do that, because if you were elected by your citizens and you really cared about your citizens instead of your own power, you would probably want to help the citizens, because that's what you were elected to do. I'm not saying everybody looks like that, but that would be normal. And so that wouldn't be a bad thing at all, because you could create that value. There are also some people, we have to assume, there are some people that know exactly what I know, exactly what you know, and these two systems are incompatible. And there's some people inside that apparatus that would try to control it. Why? Because 97.5% of people will. Right. So when we're going through this, we can't, we have to look around at our friends, we have to look around at people, and we have to realize everybody is going to make their choices here. That's why it's going to get chaotic, and it's going to be so confusing, because we're living at the end of a system that is grappling for power, and it's trying to take more and more control under the optics that it's helping you. And that there's an evil villain on the other side that's trying to hurt you. And the optics of that are creating the fear and that are keeping people locked in their jail cell. When they could realize, wait, the door's unlocked. I could just walk over here. Right? I could move to the new system and take all my power back, and nothing can stop me. So that is bound to be. And then inside that, there's going to be a whole bunch of other people that say, oh, on the new system, I can have control. It can be, if I was the US in that, then I could create imperialism 1.0 on gold, 2.0 on the petrodollar system, and 3.0 on Bitcoin. And I could extend the life of an extractive system by going to Bitcoin, and it would work for a while. It would work. It would be the right thing to do. But if and some of those people will try to control it, some of those people, because humans cheat. So the question isn't what they will do. The question is what you will do.
Your own personal choice in what system. And it is actually super interesting. And I think I want to touch on that because just let's make it on my example. Like 5 years ago, I didn't have any Bitcoin. I had no clue about Bitcoin. Then I started talking about Bitcoin and I started to understand the freedom revolution side of things with Twitter and podcasts and all of that. Then I started a business in Bitcoin. Then I decided to like go all in on that small podcasting business. Then I got Bitcoin companies as sponsors, so I now get paid in Bitcoin. So I have part fiat and part Bitcoin salary. Then next step is like, okay, I have now 2 freelancers working for me. One is choosing to get paid in Bitcoin, and I want to offer that. So that circular economy is already coming that, and I'm seeing how actually my bank account is getting less and less important in my life. And I'm like, okay, I have my Bitcoin wallet, I have my setup, and I'm just wondering, like, that transition was really quick. And probably I'm not normal because I'm doing like all my life in Bitcoin, but there are so many more people that do that, and that transition is just fascinating. Of like taking Bitcoin to medium of exchange and almost like unit of account level, and I'm just fascinated by how quick this goes sometimes.
So Robin, you should tell that story more often, because replicating that story, I find that probably the number one thing I'm asked is, okay, how do I start? What do I do? All of my energy is in this other system, and I'm stuck. I need the money, and there's no way I can commit the time. And I think what your story just described, Peter McCormick's story is the same. Natalie Burnett's story the same. Preston Pysh's story the same. Lynn Alden's story the same. Over and over, and these are just some of the educators and other podcasters, other people who have built compelling products on Nostr, or compelling on the entrepreneurial, creating more value on top of Bitcoin. This is happening at a rate that's hard to describe. And when we're feeding back and we're seeing the results of just moving our time, it's because it's happened for me too. Moving my time from the system that is exploitative and was controlling me, and moving to this, I don't pay any attention to the nonsense in the other system. I'm aware it's there. I have empathy for the people who are still stuck in jail, but I'm not. And life gets better and better and better because you're in the honest system, working with those people in the honest system, and it's a mere reflection of where you're spending your time. So now, how do you start? Because what you just described is a perfect example of a process in a free market.
Thank you for watching this video. This was only a snippet of the podcast. And if you want to watch the full episode and get all of the context of this episode, you can click right here or here. Oh, maybe also here.